The idea of ultimate skills has always been underwhelming at best since release, but not anymore. Rain of Arrows is powerful enough on its own to clear entire screens of enemies as well as chunk bosses for way more than what you'd expect it to. First of all, I'd just like to say there's something so satisfying about casting Rain of Arrows and watching the entire screen disappear. We utilize Word of Hakan in order to boost up Rain of Arrows with all the imbuements, and we grab perks in each of the imbuement skills since those apply as well. So extra damage to chilled/frozen enemies, extra poisoning damage and duration, and extra elemental damage taken, and crit chance against injured enemies. And then we also grab all the amazing perks in that area of the skill tree, and then we're basically done. What's crazy is that that's all this build really needs in order to start working. In order to cast our ultimate Rain of Arrows as much as possible, we use Preparation as our spec and Flicker Step as well. On display is a 27-second cooldown Rain of Arrows down from 55 seconds with various sources of cooldown reduction. When I was playing well and microing properly and not just being a lazy piece of shit, I could cast Rain of Arrows on nearly every pack of enemies. An interesting tidbit most people probably don't know about the Preparation spec is that it resets your evade cooldown as well as all your other cooldowns, meaning you can evade through enemies with a Flicker Step, cast Rain of Arrows, and then evade again directly after. You'll love this interaction, on God. On God, brother. And when we don't have Rain of Arrows ready to cast, which is honestly not that often, we use Rapid Fire with its refunding resource perk and a decent amount of resource regeneration from strength and our free ring slot, and we get back about 18 energy per cast, which effectively makes Rapid Fire cost 7 energy. And that's all we need in order to stall out until we cast Rain of Arrows again, so that we always have DPS being applied to whatever we're fighting. As long as I was using the exploit glyph, I never once ran out of resource, even without using a basic skill or any other generator, which is a unique kind of detail that might get glossed over or underestimated how effective that kind of idea really can be in a build. It effectively gives you an entirely extra skill. And then couple all this with the combat glyph, so we refund 12% of what it costed in the first place, so we're actually getting back about 21 energy, and so realistically it only costs 4, not 7. We like using concealment with the guaranteed critical hit perk because we hope to cast Rain of Arrows directly from concealment, and then it's back off cooldown immediately. Concealment is again, so as soon as we want to fire off another Rain of Arrows, we can do so, and we can be concealed instantly and not have to wait for a long cooldown or anything like that. We use the Rapid Fire aspect to allow it to ricochet while utilizing the 3 different imbuement skills to navigate our way through different combat situations in a way that feels like something only Rogue can really do. Even without Rain of Arrows, Rapid Fire is able to take care of anything and everything on its own. And I was sincerely surprised by this at first, because I first tried to just dodge around and only use Rain of Arrows exclusively, but then as I transitioned more to using Rain of Arrows to take care of elite and champion mobs specifically, is when I felt this build truly take shape and smooth out in the way that you try to smooth out all ARPG builds. So rest assured, even without Flicker Step and Zafal's Corroded Signet, this build can get started with just a good crossbow and Word of Hakan. And that's what I love about it, is it's one of the few builds in the game that solely relies on a single unique in order to make it completely and immediately viable. So if you're looking for a good season starter build, level with Twisting Blades since it's still absolutely broken and the fastest leveling skill on Rogue, and as soon as you get Word of Hakan, you can make the swap to one of the cooler and more satisfying builds available to Rogue. I like to use Victimize on this build since it scales off of the exploit glyph, and vulnerable damage is one of the best sources of additive damage in the game, especially when you get it on gear, and it makes Rapid Fire feel even more like a force to be reckoned with all on its own. Though you could use Precision with this exact setup, so whichever one you prefer is probably what's best. Overall, I love playing this build, and I think it is incredible and would wholeheartedly recommend it to anybody. Its biggest weakness would be the suppression affix on elite mobs, of course, because it's a ranged build, but what's great about it is that you can cast Rain of Arrows outside of the bubble and then walk into the bubble, and that Rain of Arrows that you just cast outside will damage the enemies inside of the bubble, so you can like preemptively start a one shot, and then it's actually safer when you think about it compared to a lot of other builds. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. I would love to see this build improve even further and hear how you all like playing it as well. Peace and love. Peace and love.